For anybody who heard our conversation rather, on the podcast, you will have gotten a sense of art journaling. But we wanted to delve a little bit deeper for some of us to understand how that process works. And Heather's going to show us a little bit of, the process and the materials and things like that. So Heather, tell us.
All right. Well, so cool to be able to talk about art journaling. I am so not an expert. I really have dabbled in journaling and in art, but really only came into art journaling this year in Lent. So I feel a little ill-equipped to be doing, a presentation about it. But nonetheless, here we are. And when I'm really into something, I do like to share about it. So I took my only ever art journaling class during Lent at my church this year. And the leader gave us each week a theme and some prompts around that theme to help us journal. And I just loved the practice so much. And now I've incorporated it into my pilgrimage and my travel experiences. And the style that she introduced me to that I really loved really brought together the writing side of journaling and the art side. And she started out with a prompt, and she asked us to write on that prompt, just normal on the page and whatever color pen or marker that you wanted. And then she asked us to turn the page. So if you started out like this, I'll show you I'll show you in a minute. And then she had us turn the page and write like this across the page on a second prompt. And then she gave us a third prompt and had us turn the page again. So now you're upside down and write again. And so your writings become the background almost for what's going to come next in the art journaling. In this first class, she then had us actually color on top of the writing. And this is what the finished page came out like. So if you look super close, you can see some words under there. And then just straight lines across the page. Like I didn't have to even draw a shape. Just pick two colors of marker and alternate them going across the page. And then she asked us to pick out a word or phrase from our writings and to write it on a smaller sheet of paper. In this case, it was we were writing about our childhoods. And I chose the phrase, "I knew I was loved." And then we just tore that out and tore out some other paper. I didn't draw those. That's just like scrapbook paper. And you pasted it all on the page. And then she had us draw some shapes. I drew some like honeycomb shapes and some star shapes and some circles. And that's the whole thing. And we made that together in about 30 minutes. So it doesn't have to be a really long practice. All this took was some colored pencils, markers, paper, and a glue stick, basically. So no expensive supplies. It's something that you can, if you have a few basic art supplies, you can do at home. Another prompt up page that I wanted to show you was from the journal I took with me on my pilgrimage recently to France, where we were studying Black Madonnas. And I used the same writing in 3 directions for the background. But this time I wrote the prompts that I gave myself. One was earlier in the day, we had a group meeting. And everybody in the group shared one of their hopes for the pilgrimage. And I wanted part of my journal to be a prayer for those hopes and for those people. So my way of praying was to write what I could remember about what they had shared. So I just wrote each person's name and one sentence about what I could remember that they had shared. And for the people who didn't share anything, I just wrote their name. So that was sort of a bit of a prayer for me to just remember and to write. We had also, because this was a pilgrimage related to Mary, I had picked up in the Chartres Cathedral a prayer to Mary, specifically this particular image of Mary that is in Chartres. And I just rewrote that. It wasn't my own words at all. I just rewrote it, having turned to the page 90 degrees. And then on my third turn of 90 degrees, I wrote the words of Mary's prayer from Luke chapter 1, what we know as the Magnificat.
Right.
So now I've layered my prayer for the people on the pilgrimage, a prayer that I found in a church, and Mary's prayer from the Bible. So those were sort of the words that formed the background. The cathedral in Chartres is famous for their blue stained glass. It was made with real cobalt. And so it's this very, very brilliant blue. And I had stuck a blue paint pen in my bag when I was packing, but I didn't really pay attention to what color blue it was. I see 5 or 6 different blue paint sticks in my jar over there. And I was delighted when I pulled it out and it was this beautiful, sharp cobalt blue.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
And then, so the things that you see pasted on here are just things I picked up along the way. So this is from, I think I picked up a postcard in the cathedral that had this Mary on it. And this was just from a free brochure, which is there's 2 Black Madonnas in Chartres Cathedral, and that's both of them. And then this is the same window. It's just depicted twice. And, I kind of drew this shape to make it also look a little bit like a window. And I just added a little bit of gold accents. So just to show you where you can find anything, this little bit, I can't make it shimmer. There, it's shimmering. These little bits of gold foil were from a shop where I bought something and they tied the bag with a piece of gold ribbon.
Oh, cool.
And I just thought, I could use that, stick it in my bag. And then so later I cut it up and just glued it on there. So again, and these are the names of the people on the trip. And so the names of the people that I had been praying for, and I wanted to make them more visible. So I cut them out of the trip booklet that lists people's names and just glued them on. So, it can be really simple stuff like that. You don't, and again, there's not much on this page that is drawing. Like there's not a lot that shows a lot of artistic skill in terms of like, I can't draw a face. Never. Like, but I can cut out a Mary.
You can cut out a face.
Yeah. So
it's such a good way. It's such a good way to use some of those materials that you always get when you're traveling around on a pilgrimage. You always get these little brochures, and I'm always like, what do I do with this stuff? I don't really keep that kind of stuff. So, I mean, sometimes I do, but you end up with a lot of it. So you might as well actually put it toward some sort of use like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I'm not one to scrapbook when I get home. Like if I don't use it while I'm traveling, I'll bring it home with me and then I'm going to put it in the recycling bin probably.
Yeah.
So this way I can sort of take bits and bobs and put them together into something a little bit arty. And that doesn't, this doesn't take up a lot of space on my shelf. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And it doesn't also always have to be spiritual. I have a page in my journal. This is a super messy page. This is from a trip home to visit my family. And it's literally just like a collection of random things that's like a picture that my niece colored, a sticker that she gave me, a piece of a flower that I picked up on the side of the road. And, I didn't even write anything for that page, but I just wanted to sort of collect some of the little memories from that trip. I mean, it was around Easter time. It was my other niece's birthday. We went to a water park. This was my wristband.
How fun. That's such a good way of kind of capturing a moment, capturing a time.
Yeah. I've also done it like these pages. These are technically 2 separate pages. This is from a conference I went to. Wow. And so those are my conference notes.
Oh.
And then again, just sort of that Lectio Divina, like this was something that says, come closer. And wisdom builds her house is a line from Proverbs that came up in the conference. So again, just a way of, in that case, note-taking and then sort of elaborating on what was memorable to me in the content.
Yeah.
So
like you could just take notes and then lose them in some notebook. Like I've got so many notebooks of notes that I don't go back and look at. But if you had something presented, even for yourself, presented in that format, it's like you actually, and even visually, you remember it better, I think, when it's an image, in an image. And some people really are visual in that way, too.
Well, or kinesthetic. Sometimes it's not seeing it on the page, but it's the act of creating it. I think of the physical act of writing or drawing that is a more kinesthetic process that is another way of learning. And that I think helps my kinesthetic learning.
Right.
And I don't know if that's my learning style, but it's a piece of it.
Yeah, sure. It's a part that we maybe ignore too much. And just the sensory aspect of, so that what I've learned about finding well-being within ourselves, often it has to do with using our senses and getting out of our heads and actually using our bodies to do physical things, but in a sort of meditative way. So I can really imagine that would be cathartic in a lot of ways. It's reflective. You are using your mind, you're connecting with your emotions, and you're also using your senses, your sense of touch and noticing colors and even like the sounds probably of the physical, like when I journal with by hand, I always think of the sounds that I'm hearing. And anyway, so quite a few of your senses are engaged as you're doing that. And I guess you have the added element of the visual that you're creating that then can stay with you in a way that just taking notes doesn't actually stick with you that well.
And even something tactile, if you're trying to cut or something, or the glue, and you're trying not to, like those pages that I did at a conference, all my supplies are just in the chair next to me. And I'm trying to put glue on something and not get it on my hands. And you could do that after the fact, but for me, felt like it was working for me better to do it while I was listening to the speaker.
Yeah, in the moment.
Although, I guess some people could see that as distracting or rude, but for me, it sort of helps me focus in the way that I needed to focus at that time.
Yeah. I think in this day and age, we're learning about all the different ways that our brains process things. And who's to say that you're not listening better when you're doing art journaling while listening to a presentation or something, Yes. So, do you have anything nearby you as far as your pens and the scissors and your little pocket full of all those goodies?
I don't have everything in the pocket, but I carry a pouch with me about this size. Like it's just big enough to hold the notebook.
Perfect.
And a few extra things. And so my rule is I can only take what fits in this bag if I'm traveling.
Right.
Like I have a lot more at home.
Okay.
So I have in the bag another bag which has got just pens, colored pens in it.
Yep.
And this is from a brand called Muji, which I really like, but other people have other favorite brands. And I carry these plus a gold pen and a white pen. I use this lately. I've been trying paint sticks, which are like this, and they're almost like a lipstick or something. But they're nice because they don't have to dry. They dry like instantly.
Yeah.
They're not good for really like fine precision stuff, but for big smears of color, they work great. And they're very portable. Some people like a travel watercolor set. You can usually get a watercolor set that's about this big. You can even get watercolor brushes where they have a water barrel attached to them. So you don't have to like have a cup of water.
Right.
The brush itself holds
has
the water.
Its water there. Yeah.
Yes. But to me, the downside to watercolor is you have to wait for the page to dry before you can like put anything else on top of it or before you can close your journal.
Sure.
Whereas these pens, they're dry like 10 seconds after you put them down. And my friend gave them to me for my birthday last year, and I have all these colors.
Oh, fun.
But I have to pick 8. I can fit 8 in my bag. So the other supply that I learned about in my art journaling workshop is this double-sided tape that comes in this cool little dispenser.
Oh, fun.
And it's really not messy. It's way better than a glue stick. And you just like, and then it's super sticky, and you can put that's what I use on almost everything I was affixing in the journals is this double-sided tape.
Yeah, that works really well.
And it's really easy to pack. And then, of course, the scissors. It is cute. I like a really good sharp pointy scissor, but you can't take these in the cabin on an airplane. So
as long as you can put it in your luggage, you're good.
Put it in your luggage and you're fine, or else maybe some child scissors, but I'm not even sure how strict the airline is about child scissors. So who knows?
But you find that the sharp scissors are good because you can get more precision, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You can. And then I've just got all the little papers that I've collected. Look, here's my gold ribbon that was on my bag.
Ooh, so you can use that for future ones as well.
Oh, yeah. That'll stay in here. But then here's more pictures of the Madonna that I just picked up. This one is mostly words, but, that can make a good background. Yeah. And then sometimes I just pick things up like, this is something my niece colored, and I just thought, well, that's pretty. I'll stick it in there. It doesn't take a lot of space. But,
great colors.
Candy wrappers. This is from a chocolate bar. Look, it still has bits of chocolate on the back.
So then you get the sense of smell too, because I was thinking we have almost all the senses there, but maybe so now we have smell.
It doesn't smell anymore.
Maybe you could hide
But
a
this
little
too,
piece
like,
of
this is from
chocolate in there and have the sense of taste too.
So I really think, you know, I mean, the hard part is you can't keep everything. I thought this was a pretty pink. It was a whole bag, and I just tore a square off and stuck it in my little folder here. So inside the bag is a little envelope of pretty things. And I'll clean some of those out. So I won't take Mary's image with me on the next trip. So I'll collect new things when I get somewhere new.
Yeah. I like that idea of just letting it be fresh every time.
Yeah.
And even like the difference between the few ones that you just showed me, it seems like you just went with whatever that event or, you know, trip or whatever inspired you. And each one has its own complete different character, which just gives you a lot of freedom. It's not like you're trying to sort of do the same thing over and over again, but you let it be different each time.
Yeah. And just, like I said, I like that writing as a background, but even that, like there's, you know, you don't have to write as a background. Just, it helps me kind of, like I said, bring in the verbal part of journaling a little bit. Yeah.
So the 3 layers, if somebody wanted to just take away, you know, 3 prompts, is there any like general thing you can say about each prompt, or does it depend on the situation?
Gosh, you know, okay, so let me see. I haven't tried this in art journaling yet, but I was trying I was trying to give myself a journaling framework, and I wonder if this could translate to art journaling. And I was riffing on the Ignatian Examen questions. Mm-hmm. And so maybe 3 or 4 prompts that you could use in regular journaling or art journaling is, and these are ways of reflecting on your day, if you're familiar with the Ignatian Examen. What are you feeling, the consolation? Like, what are you feeling thankful for, or what went well today? What is making you feel encouraged? Mm-hmm. So just writing. And again, you're talking about, you know, just this much text. It's not a lot. What are you feeling encouraged about today? And then turning the page, you could write, what are you feeling discouraged about from today? And that could be things where you screwed up, where you wish something would have gone differently, things that maybe you want to, you know, ask for forgiveness for, anything like that. Anything that feels sort of heavy. What is heavy for you today? The third prompt is, what are your hopes for tomorrow? Mm-hmm. And then if you want to take it one more step, this one's not Ignatian, but I think it could be, is, who are you holding in your heart today? You know, thinking not just about yourself, but about your community. What are you praying for? And what do you sort of want to lift up for praying for others, thinking about others in the world. So,
yeah, that's a nice addition to it. Ooh, I love that idea. I love that idea of having those 4 prompts to kind of to start the reflective process, and then to see what images come out of that. So, I mean, that could be, if somebody's artistically inclined, it could be a way of kind of marking each day, if you know, or if you can find a time, even like once a week, or have a special once a month art journaling practice where you look back over a period of time. Because I always think the Examen's nice in that you can choose the period of time that you're looking at. It's ideally, or I guess traditionally practiced each day, but it can be over a week or a month or a year or a season of life or an era or chapter. I always think, you know, there's so many different ways that you can use that way of looking back over a period of time. So to add the artistic element to it is really great. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And again, if you're not sure what to make art out of, you could look back at your own writing through the lens of Lectio Divina and say, what words or phrases are standing out here for me? And then use those to sort of add that artistic layer on.
Yeah. So many good ideas. Thank you so much, Heather.
It's so cool to talk about it.
That was wonderful. And it was good to see the visuals too. So now we can have more of a sense of how you did it and how we can do it too, and how we can bring that practice into our lives, whether it's on pilgrimage or in our day-to-day life, which I think it's always good to be able to have practices that we can do at home too.
Absolutely. And I think the big thing is with art journaling, with anything creative, like just don't be afraid to start and don't worry about how good it is. Just do it. Yeah. And that the process is the point.
Yeah. And it's not for anybody except for you. And it can be a way of expressing prayer as well. And that is
absolutely,
it just gives a different shape to how our prayer can be through that creative expression.
Look, it's hard for me to sit and pray for 20 minutes at this point in my life and in my faith. But it is not hard for me to sit and journal for 20 minutes about the people that I'm traveling with. Not in like a, but just to pray for them as I write about what they expressed and experienced. And for me, that feels like a much more alive kind of prayer than trying to just sit on the side of my bed or something and think in my head for 20 minutes, So it is absolutely prayer. It's just expressed in a very different way. And maybe that is what makes it psalmic, because the Psalms are prayers that are expressed musically and in verse. And
Oh, thank you. I love that connection. And you've inspired all of us. So I feel inspired to go off and do some art journaling myself.
Send me pictures when you do.
But I need some of your cool art supplies.
If you want to, no pressure.
I know. No, I do. I need to just raid my daughter's art supply. That's the only thing. So.
I was going to say, please, I want your listeners to know you do not have to buy really special things. Nothing that I have is fancy artist tools. I'm pretty sure the paint pens came from Amazon. My colored pencils came from Amazon. The markers I have are Crayola. There's good paper. This little journal the brand is called Carpe Diem. It's the Traveler's Notebook blank. And I like that the pages are really sturdy so that they don't bleed through and I can glue things to them. Yeah. I still think it costs like $6 though. It's not expensive.
Yeah.
So, but you really don't have to go out and buy a bunch of new stuff. Just raid your kids' supply. Absolutely. 100%.
I will. But you know what would be really helpful is if you could just make a tiny little list with the 5 or 6 items that you use with the brand names you just mentioned, and just send those to me and I'll pass them on to people, and you can have those written down too, because that might be helpful for people that you share this with in the future too.
Absolutely. Just disclaimer. There's no promotions here. All of this stuff is, and I don't know, there might be better stuff out there. This is just the stuff that I happen to have. So.
Yeah. But you know how we're always like, I want what she has. Yeah. And those pens look so cute, and your tape dispenser and everything. So, if you have a moment, that would be really cool that we could look at where we could find those things ourselves, or something similar to that. That would be great.
Similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. And a little pouch that's just about as cool as yours, but maybe not quite.
Also a gift from a friend.
What was the phrase on that again? Empower.
It says empowered women empower women.
Love it.
This was a freebie from Thrive Cosmetics, which I have never used. So I think that a friend uses Thrive Cosmetics and she gave me the bag.
Oh.
I'm a big believer in hand-me-downs and secondhand too. So
yeah, it's a perfect fit. All right.
It is.
Thank you so much, Heather, and have a wonderful day. And we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you, Kieran.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.